Yo, what's going on, party people? Hey, I have to do this video in response to the video I did earlier today, about my experience doing a direct signing. And I don't say going direct because I have done direct, but I have to. I was trying to. Okay, man, everybody popping stuff in there. I was trying to be concise in my typing, but it started getting too long because Miss Holman, one of the subscribers, I think she's a subscriber. Yeah, she's a subscriber. And then one I think I don't know if Miss Sheffield is a subscriber, but they both made two statements, and I like them. I like them because it actually helped me get some insight a little bit better on what was going on up here in my head. And again, this isn't a thing of trying to be controversial or trying to buck the system or go against the grain. It's just these are questions that I'm having in my head because there's conflict out here about how to do stuff. Because when there's a conflict, you're supposed to go and try to get the conflict resolved. So, how do you get the conflict resolved that you're coming across? And you have to have those conversations. So I like, what Ms. Holman said, how she was saying that in Texas, the escrow officers have an expectation that the notaries are supposed to do dot dot dot, and that right now she's talking about, that they don't fill out the documents correctly, right? For as the notarial acknowledgement forms, this, that, and the other, and certain other areas. Um, so and she's right. So she doesn't just, and she said if you get stuff back that's all incorrect, they just don't use that notary again. Got that, but she said that they're under the impression that these notaries know how to explain the documents. And that's the thing that I've been seeing for the last 2.5 years is that depending on who you're working with, depending on who you was trained by, determines your level of what you are going to explain. So Miss Sheffield was saying that I guess Mark's LLS and Kendra's training is as if you're working in a title office. So now work with me on this now. So if the training that I'm receiving from whoever is more geared to support what the escrow officers say they want, that's different or could be different from what the National Notary Association is telling us to do and training us. And if that's the case, then that can be a bone of contention when you have someone, I think, say like me, who didn't take a system that talked to me about how to do it for the escrow officer or how um, to work with an escrow officer on what their expectation was or is. And I'm just doing it as a general sense of what the NNA said that they're expecting a notary to do according to their code of conduct. So they have a code of conduct. So then if a person, again, like Miss Holman said, they have, their escrow license and their notary license, then the question is, did they go through the NNA certification? So if you go through the NNA certification, then you take this other loan training system of any sort, um, that tells you, okay, this is how you're going to do these documents, and you're going to do these documents in this fashion, and the fashion that you're doing them are more geared to what an escrow officer would want. Couldn't that cause an issue when you're just doing for signing companies and they're like, well, no, this is how we want you to operate, and vice versa? So all I'm saying is everybody got to be on the same page. And it's all about the word relationships, how we relate to each other. So what I'm seeing is that it's important for the notary who is going in face to face with an escrow officer, title officer to open their mouth and ask some questions, just like one of the other persons who came on, the person called a good notary. Like he said, be the person who asked a million questions. So that's why I took blame. I said, hey, took it far. I said, yeah, I know where I made my mistake at. Okay, I had an expectation based on my experience. And it's not that it was wrong, and it's not that theirs was wrong. It just didn't mesh up. So at that time, the oil and we was oil and water, and it just didn't gel. So I'm like, okay, got it. So if the escrow officer is expecting the notary to do, like I said in my earlier video, this, and I'm under the impression that I'm supposed to do this, we got to find a way to come to an understanding so that the notary is operating at the capacity that they're supposed to, because at the end of the day, it's the notary who's sitting there notarizing the document. So if I'm the one sitting there and I'm doing this, then I need to know what I'm supposed to be doing based off of what you expect. And then I know that they're saying the escrow officer or title officer could say, well, your training should gear you for that. But the other side of it is, once I get NNA certified, I don't necessarily have to do Mark, Bill, Kendra's, or anybody else's program to be a notary and to notarize documents. However, if I'm going to probably work with these escrow officers, then I probably need their training so that I can be in line with what they want. And if that's what's going on, I'm fine with that. Then I have to make that decision. If I'm going to go direct, now I got to find out what's the best training for me as a direct person versus me as a notary who's not going direct with the signing companies. Because I guarantee you, if I was taught something as a direct notary type of person and I executed it in a certain way with the signing companies, they may not be pleased, and vice versa. So this isn't a bad thing, people. This is good to me, because now it's helping me to understand where I need to flow at, where I can flow, and how do I go in there and do my best in supporting the escrow officer, the signing companies, or whoever, because that's the whole goal of the notary is to provide notarial services. So what level of notarial services you want me to provide? Also, at the other side of the house, there's all these sides of the house. I believe most notaries want to make sure that we have top cover, that if we're going to go and explain or be definitive on certain things, or I'm going to show somebody how to fill out these forms or how to answer certain things dealing with dealing with taxes or anything else, that if I happen to misspoke because I don't have all of the information, and that's why I said one of the things, I didn't have the CD, because if I had the CD, I could have looked at it and said, okay, this is what you sold the house for. This is your profit. Your profit is less than 500K. Then that means the answer would be this. Because at that point, then I'm in the mode of, I'm a homeowner. So it would affect me too. If I was in this situation of selling a home, then I could probably help them out. But because I didn't have all of the information, and then the signers, if I didn't have the CD, that meant the signers didn't have the CD. So how could they answer the question of what the gross proceeds are that they're getting if they don't have those numbers in front of them? So that's the whole point that I was saying, and I hope that didn't get missed, is that the more information we have, the better decisions we can make. The more conversations we have, the less hurt feelings and the less embarrassment and the less frustration we get when we say, okay, let us talk. So to me, I would say maybe an escrow officer or a company could say, okay, let's put together maybe some training you know, maybe or a list of expectations of what we want the notaries to do, or any notary that we call or potentially could call. We tell them, okay, go over here first, and it doesn't have to be a $500 training system. Go over here first and watch this video, and this is what we expect. This is what our expectations are. When that is given to a person, then they can operate in that level. They can like, okay, I know what to do. I think that can help out. And then the notaries, we're now, at least for those who might be on this channel, we can say, okay, now I'm a little bit more aware. Now I can go in there and say, okay, hey, Mr. or Miss Loan Officer, Mr. or Miss Escrow Officer, in presenting the documents, what is it that your notaries typically do? What do you want me to do? So instead of me saying, hey, let me come in here and do free services, how about let me come in and sit behind the desk with your notaries and see how y'all do XYZ. I think that would be best. Another notification. Da, 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 da. Nope, can't do that one. Sorry about that, y'all. I told you these orders be coming in all of the time. So I think that would be helpful, but it takes a little bit more effort on the part of, say, the escrow officer and the notary. I know that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start, if I'm asked in that situation again, I'm going to ask more detailed questions. Whether the escrow officer or not tells me anything. But then even with that, I wasn't dealing with the escrow officer. I was dealing with one of their schedulers. So if the person who I'm dealing with doesn't know the details of what the notaries for their company is doing, then I may not still get those answers. And if the escrow officer is busy and don't have time to talk to me because this is a last minute closing, this needs to get done, then it's like, okay, how do I proceed safely without embarrassing myself and making people upset with me? If I have leeway, a week's notice, then maybe I can say, okay, let me talk to y'all. Let me figure some stuff out with y'all. Let me find out how y'all do it. But if I don't have time, if all I got is in 4 hours, I'm supposed to do this thing, and this is my first time working with y'all, your first time working with me, and in the back of your head, you got this expectation. In the back of my head, I got this expectation, and we don't have time to communicate, then that's not going to work too well. I just don't see how it's going to work because of the lack of knowledge. So thank y'all for the comments. I mean, that has really opened my eyes up and helped me understand some things. That if I'm going to take a training system, I need to really understand, what is that training system gearing me toward? Is it gearing me toward, just having a better understanding of notary work, or is it gearing me toward working with escrow officers? And if that's the case, then if the stuff that I'm learning and doing for the escrow officer, does that translate over to all of these other entities, these signing companies, whether signature closers or CX Choice, signing order, SnapDocs, Villa Title, the Closer LLC, all of these people, how do they want me to perform? Because if the way they want me to perform is different than what I've been trained, so I like this. I like this, y'all. This is the reason why I'm doing this, because not trying to stir stuff up, not trying to shake stuff. I'm not even trying to quote unquote change the industry. I'm just trying to get a better understanding. And with people like Ms. Holman, I mean, I love that. I mean, that just put a big old smile on my face. I'm like, I got it. And I don't, and there's nothing wrong with her having that impression or expectation. It's now a matter of, if I ever move to Texas and I'm working for Miss Holman, I know what I need to do to provide her the best service possible. And that's what it's all about. If I take so-and-so's training, like Miss Sheffield talked about, I know this is what it's gearing me toward. And therefore, maybe if I don't have that training, I probably shouldn't be trying to go direct, because that training is geared for helping me to be what the escrow officer needs. And I'm not willing to take it, or don't have the money to take it, or the time to take it. So maybe I just need to stick with the signing companies, and that'll be the safe bet. You know, so I'm getting ready, hopefully get ready for this signing tonight, y'all, at 7. It's 5:30 here on the East Coast, and I haven't got the documents yet. Um, so that is, yeah, so I still haven't got the documents for this here signing. Nope, still haven't got them. So don't know what's gonna happen with this one. Hopefully it'll happen. We'll see. So thank y'all, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Please comment. Um, I love it. Thanks. Peace.